I'm continuing my usual tradition. Every time I come over here, I just bring my laundry because my Larry's gesturing at me. What? Oh, he's mocking my yeah. I was painting merely the trim around a closet doorway, and this is what happened. In my last video, I mentioned I dropped the paint can twice, and it just exploded. But mostly, it exploded on me. So I'm wearing more than ever reached the walls. I've got loads of laundry to fold. Larry actually asked me how I ended up with so much laundry all the time. But basically, there's the daily workout. There's the clothes that I've been defiling for the home repairs, and I have a habit of covering all my furniture at home with sheets and blankets and stuff, pillows and pillowcases for my cats who love to scratch stuff. I'm not a very good disciplinarian, so consequently, every single week I end up with mountains of laundry. If I did laundry twice a week, I'd still have more. So. Oh, and I have an interesting story. It's pretty horrifying. It's this is one of those only in California type stories, but the kicker is it didn't happen in California. I heard from a friend in Oregon, and we have one of those text message exchanges like, hey, how are you? How are you? And she filled me in on her activities, and I mentioned this place and what it took to get the bad tenant out and the condition he left the place in, and I'm whining about honestly finding syringes every place and scraping unmentionable stuff off the walls, and she topped my story. Evidently my friend has a friend in Oregon, I think it might be in Portland or near there. She had a house that she rented out, she still has it, and her tenant was arrested, he's in jail awaiting prosecution for, get this, manufacturing methamphetamine inside her home, which may compromise the property forever given the toxic chemicals that are used for that process. This is unbelievable. You would think this happened in California, but no, in Oregon, there's evidently some law on the books. She cannot evict her tenant while he's in jail. He's not paying any rent. None of his family's paying rent. There's no rent being paid. He's in jail awaiting trial. He's going to be prosecuted for illegally manufacturing methamphetamine in her home, and she can neither collect any rent from him nor evict him. So that topped my whole story. I think I'm more in disbelief that it happened somewhere other than California. Because usually when you hear about egregious stuff like that, it's usually California or New York, but no. Evidently, Oregon is honestly just as liberal and just as wacky. I don't even really like using the term liberal because I'm liberal in a lot of ways, obviously, but in terms of politics, there's just so much distortion in the liberal states. I mean, like in most states, if you have a tenant who simply stops paying rent, you can evict that person in a very reasonable frame of time. And I think it's reasonable that a landlord should be able to do that, because if you're just the average person like me, I have to pay the mortgage. I'm dependent upon the rent to pay the mortgage. So, there's people that lose properties because of that. And you get somebody who moves into your place, you can't get them out, you can't get any rent. So that Oregon story is, I think it more or less tops anything I've heard. Because you hear all these horror stories about methamphetamine being manufactured, and just the chemicals, sometimes they can't. Sometimes the property's ruined. So I don't know. I can't even imagine being in that position. So anyways, that's my story for the day. I'm going to continue with my laundry folding, and head upstairs to, I guess, I'm gonna have to move my boobs to like even see my stomach. I'm gonna try and paint the walls upstairs later instead of myself. But thanks for joining me.